Hello and welcome to Diploma Dialogues. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the internal assessment or the IA.
So the IAs are another feature of the IB, so they're very important and they usually make up around 20 to 30% of your final predicted score for your final, or they make up around 20 to 30% of your final score.
IB score, yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially, the IA is in every subject, but in some subjects you have different, like the amount of IAs you do per subject changes. Like for the arts, there's I think a couple. Then for subjects like
There's
business,
an exhibition at the end.
there's
for
an
art.
exhibition for art. Then
Same for music and drama.
theater. But theater is I think like 4 IAs. Or something.
Yeah.
And then
Usually there's those all three of those usually have some sort of performance or like presentation where they present either their music, their artwork, or like their performance.
Yeah, so essentially an IA is an internal assessment. So it's basically a submission that you make. It's not like a written paper compared to the other IB exams. It's a submission you make, usually like a research paper or a performance. So it's a submission.
It's more research based.
Yeah, it's a submission that you make that is basically graded by the teachers in your school, and then one IA out of the batch is sent to the IB for moderation, but it's graded internally. That's the name, internal assessment. And so like for business, the internal assessment is a research paper. For eco, I think there are 3.
Yeah, so we have to conduct a research or analysis on 3 different articles, on 3 different recent articles that have happened, and then basically we conduct our analysis based on the stuff we learn in class. It's basically a culmination of all the different things that we learn in class, and we apply those in the form of a paper or some sort of submission.
And then for the languages, it's more of a spoken thing. So then for example, for English, for Lang and Lit, it's not called the IA, it's called the IO. So it's individual oral. It's called the individual oral, and it's basically an internal assessment, but it goes by the name of IO, individual oral.
Yeah, and taken from someone who just had their IO.
Like literally just like half an hour ago.
Yes. It's not too difficult unless you make it difficult. It's hard to explain what it truly is because it's something that's not done in MYP before. But they do train you. Yeah, or in any other boards. But they do train you in grade 11 for the for the IO. So you won't go into grade 12 not knowing how to speak or how to format an IO.
Yeah.
So essentially what a Lang and Lit IO is, it's you pick 2 texts. There's one literary text and a non-literary text, and you pick a body of work, which is 2 non-literary texts from the same collection as the non-lit text, and a literary work, which is 2 lit texts from the collection of the literary extract.
Yeah.
So the 2 texts that you pick from the start, those are the extracts. So like for example, if they covered Carol Ann Duffy poems for our syllabus in school. So for example, my mock IO, because I don't think I can disclose our final IOs, but for example, my mock IO, I chose war photographer as my literary extract, and then my literary work was Big Ask and The Last Post. And then on the other hand, I had my non-lit extract was I picked the photo called The Little Tiger from what's the photographer's name?
I don't remember actually.
Okay, so we're forgetting the photographer's name, but basically Philip Jones Griffiths, Philip Jones Griffiths. So I picked The Little Tiger from Philip Jones Griffiths, and then 2 of his other photos from his Vietnam ink collection. So that's basically how you would split it up. And then essentially in your IO is 10 minutes long, and then after that you have a
15-minute thing in total.
It's 15 minutes in total, so you have a 10-minute, you basically speak to the teacher, and then for 5 minutes the teacher asks you questions and you answer those questions. So the way it's broken up is you have your introduction followed by your 8 peel paragraphs. So that would be a literary extract peel paragraph, non-lit extract peel paragraph, then your peel paragraphs for your body of work, peel paragraphs for your literary work, and then your conclusion.
Yeah.
And another big important part of your IO, so essentially the peel paragraph is your claim, then your evidence, your technique, and your link to global issue. Now, what is a global issue?
So global issue is basically one huge banner that all of your information or like all of your analysis is conducted under. Like for example, what he said, he took a war photographer and his global issue came something along the lines of war. So all of the pieces of evidence that you select and all of the techniques, what effects they provide have to be something related to that global issue. For example, if its global issue focuses on the psychological trauma of war, everything that you mention in your IO, you have to explain it with relevance to that global issue. Otherwise, you would do very badly in your criterion A and B part of your IO.
Yeah, and near the end of your IO, you also have some questions and answers, now these question and answer, take it from me, are to help you. They're not to confuse you, and they're not there to hinder your IO.
They're
because
meant to raise the quality.
Yeah, they're meant to raise the quality of your IO. So for example, for me, I ran out of time and I couldn't include some information in my 10 minutes of speaking. And the questions that I got asked really helped me to bring out those points and to further clarify those points that I missed out on. So that's one thing which the question answers are supposed to do. So
yeah. And another thing about IAs in general, your IO is probably your shortest IA out of all of them, because usually all of your IAs last from a few months period. Your IO is only like a few weeks long. So for all of your other IAs, which is not like an oral assessment, it's all of them are conducted over a period of certain period of time. It can be from 2 months to around 6 months. For example, for computer science, which is a subject I've taken, we have to create an entire program and conduct an analysis on it. What could have gone better? What could have gone worse? And how we can take it further in the future. And that in of itself takes 6 months. We have a very long period of time to complete that whole IA.
yeah, similar to design as well. We also have a really long IA. We have around, how many months do we have for that?
For DT, I think we started in probably
Late grade 11.
Late
Came
grade
up with
11,
ideas.
probably March,
Yeah.
April, May, and then we have to submit it by December to Jan. So it's a pretty long thing. But the design, so just coming to a few subject specific IAs, like he explained the CSIA. So the DTIA is very similar to, if you've done MYP, the design journal. So the DTIA is exactly the
CS is
design journal.
Similar as well, except for the difference between those two is for DT you have to create a physical product, whilst for CS you have to create a program that conducts something. And also for like your other science IAs, like for example physics, chemistry, biology, those as well you have to conduct an experiment or simulation of some kind and have some primary data and conduct your analysis on it.
Yeah, going back to slightly what Mahir said, it's similar to your grade 10 and MYP design journals, but the only difference is if you are taking HL, there are two additional criterions, which are E and F, which focus more on the marketing aspect and the taking it further aspect of the design. So instead of ending it just analyzing your product and testing your product, you take it further with those two criteria.
Yeah, so essentially coming again to what the DTIA is, it's basically the same as the design journal. You have for SL, because I'm SL, A, B, C, D, and then like she explained, for HL it's E and F. So essentially you find a problem, you design a solution, you make the solution, then you evaluate the solution. That's just the gist of it. And then coming to a few other subject specific IAs, like I'm a math AIHL student. All three of us are math AIHL students. So the math IA, this is pretty similar for all the maths, like all the math courses. The math IA is essentially finding a real life problem and solving it through the use of math. So you can do stuff like, it doesn't even have to be a problem. It just has to be something that you're showing using math.
An application of maths in real life.
Yeah, an application of math essentially. So like, for example, I know people who have modeled a Pringles chip to see if there's a more efficient way for Pringles to fit in a can. Or like, for example, people have done multiple different IAs regarding how they can get home in the evening because of the traffic and the different routes they can use. So yeah, the math is essentially that. Then the business IA, as I explained before, it's a evaluation of a move a company has decided to make, or how certain external factors affected a company. So the business IA is essentially a research paper. And another important IA comes in the languages, which is for us
It's also in order.
French or Spanish or Hindi. There are multiple other languages.
Depending on where you take
Yeah.
where your school is.
So
different.
yeah, the languages oral is essentially the languages IA is essentially an oral as well, except you in the languages IA your teacher will give you an image 5 minutes before your actual IA. Then you will have your 5 minutes, so 5 to 10 minutes. I think it's
Yeah.
10 minutes of prep time where you can make a few bullet points to take into the
It's a
IA.
maximum of 10.
10 bullet points with only a few words. And yeah, once you take those into the IA, that's all the prep. Then basically your languages IA consists of you have to describe the image, make inferences related
Have
to a
some
unit
culture
you're studying,
connections.
culture connections. Yeah, so basically it's an
Some
image
personal
description.
connection,
Yeah.
It's sort of similar to your English IO, except it's a more on the spot thing. So for your language IO, you'd usually have a period of few weeks. This you have in your language, in your other selected language, you'd have an image that's been given to you for like 10 minutes, and you have to describe it. You have to speak for around 7 minutes, I'd say, in total. With
I'm not
with 4 minutes, you describe the image, and then you ask questions as well based on what you've spoken. But keep in mind, also, like IAs will be different for everyone. There's also this thing that they do where, because there's so many people in your grade, they try to invigilate people so that they won't have similar IA topics. So just try to be unique with your IAs, but at the same time, try to keep it simple. That's the best way you can go about it.
Yeah, especially like, oh my god, so all three of us are physics students. So coming to the
for
science,
physics, for
IAs.
sciences, it's very important
Yeah.
because they want to make sure that no one has the same experiment.
Yeah, so essentially for your physics IA, the biggest, if you take one of the sciences, the biggest piece of advice we would give is don't procrastinate. Obviously, that's what
Yes.
everyone's going to tell you.
It's
and
first
pick a
come, first serve.
yeah, it's first come first serve for your topic, and pick a simple topic. Don't go too tough into trying to explore something in particle physics, or don't make it too complicated. Like take something simple. Like you could literally explore the correlation between the height a ball is dropped at and the time taken for it to reach the ground. I mean, that's a little too basic, but keep it simple and keep it so that you can understand, you can make references, you can understand what the relationship between the two is. And it's essentially a lab report. So if you've
Yeah.
done MYP, it's your criteria B and C lab report.
Yeah, and keep in mind for your IAs, when you've chosen a topic, a teacher will give you some leeway depending whether you're an H or SL. So if you're an SL, they'll usually allow you to have a somewhat easier topic to write your IA on because your syllabus would not have as many topics. And also, if you're an SL student, then your IA will have a bit more weightage, I think, or is it the same across?
I think it's a little bit more.
Yeah, because in an SL subject, you don't have your paper threes. So your IA will take up some weightage for that paper 3 and will have a greater impact on your final IB score.
Yeah, so essentially what we would say for if you take any of the sciences is keep it simple, because you don't have a lot of time to work on the physics IA as well.
Yeah, and you have to keep it balanced. You're doing all 6 of these subjects at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to balance all of it. So keep in mind everything. Don't focus on one aspect individually. Try to keep time for all of it.
The only IAs that are mostly scheduled for you are
your
the
IOs.
IO and your languages IA.
Because it's an on-the-spot
Yeah.
recording with or meeting with your teacher. It's a one-on-one between the two of you, whilst the others are more akin the lines of a research project.
Yeah, the others are quite independent, and your teachers will keep checking up on you. You'll keep like doing some checkpoints, but it's mostly independent. And yeah, another piece of advice we would give you is go to your teachers.
Yes.
So you only get, I think, one round, at least in our school, you get one round of written feedback.
Yeah.
But go to
You
them,
submit one
speak to
round.
them. You can get as much verbal feedback as you want. So go to them, keep asking them, am I doing this right? What other tools can I use? What can I do to make this better? Am I on the right track? So just keep referring to your teachers.
Never-
They are going to be your guiding angel in this.
Yeah, and never start your IA research without actually finalizing your topic with your teacher.
Yeah. It's similar to what we said about the extended essay.
extended essay,
So
exactly.
only pick your topic once you know you have enough research, because at least for the humanities subjects, it's a very research intensive IA. So
Yes.
even for the sciences, only pick your topic once you know that, you know, there is an cause and effect happening here. There is a relation between the two things. If you're doing an IV and a DV, there is some sort of relation. There is something happening.
And your teachers will tell you whether it's a good topic or not, or whether it's like viable to keep as your IA, because your teachers obviously want you to do better, right? So they help you a lot throughout this whole process.
Yeah, so essentially we would say top 3 advice: don't procrastinate, go to your teachers for help, keep asking them for help, and manage your time wisely. So again, links back to don't procrastinate. And finally we would say just don't do something too hard, pick something a little simpler.
Yeah, and this might seem like a lot, but remember that you still have other subjects to rest with. For example, study hall. Those are just basically relaxed blocks which don't really affect anything. They're just there to make you feel better.
Yeah, so just to wrap things up, for the IAs in general, we would say don't procrastinate. Go to your teacher for help about anything, because they will give you feedback and they are the experts for this. And we will have a few episodes coming up on some subject specific IAs, like an IA in business, IAs in physics, and an IA in eco and CS as well. So those episodes are coming up, and thank you so much for listening to this episode.